Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to talk about Egypt. Let's really talk about Egypt. Let's really talk about because a lot of people could say, like, not a lot of people, but a lot of like the people who are currently pro what's happening now in Egypt, and a lot of other people who are, again, I was talking about religious gatekeeping, and this is going to be a rant, okay? Trigger warning for those who are sensitive to the following topics. We're going to talk about religion fundamentalism, we're going to talk about abuse, and we're going to talk about the patriarchy. So if you're sensitive to any of these subjects, please understand that this is what we're going to talk about, and you can switch off this video now. You can just go away. But yeah, and I will get angry. I decided to do this one in the morning because, one, I tend to be much more mellow in the morning than I am in the afternoon, and two is because I want to get this off my system so that not a poor soul will get the brunt of what I'm doing, or brunt of my anger. If an Egyptian do plan, if you're an Egyptian, do plan on coming in back to Egypt, please don't. I know I say that multiple times, and every single time I'm like, just don't come back. And a lot of the times I just say about how negative things is, but when I'm doing this one, I am doing this with the utmost care in my heart, that I don't want any human being to ever experience. I don't even want my enemies to experience what I experienced. It's not only is it sad, it's infuriating, because I know the history. I know the history of this country. I know how great this country was, and I keep saying was because it's no longer the great country. And I say that again, and it's like, and the fact thing is, a lot of people are like, oh, it's changing, there's a lot of achievements. Bullshit. It's bullshit. Heck, even the digital government is still a bullshit thing as well. I mean, I looked at it yesterday and I was like, oh, let me just like try and like do this paperwork there, and it is complete bullshit. It still wants you to go inside, it still wants you to use the bureaucratic system, and it still doesn't want you to it still wants you to pay the fees. Like, it's like, yeah, you're not really helping, you're just making things worse. Not only that, but the court system, again, my biggest beef in Egypt is the court system. It is the most messed up court system you can get. While there are judges who are awesome, there are judges who, honestly, I would rather have them be put on a pedestal, because they are like BAMFs. But there are judges who are corrupt, just like anything else. And here's the thing is, my beef is with the corruption. Because the corruption in Egypt still is not as bad as other countries. So we're still not in the top, I wouldn't say we're in the top 10 yet. And that's why I'm saying yet. Because it seems like we're having this race about being on the top. And here's my beef with the court system. My beef with the court system is, if you are a horrible human being, if you're an abuser, even if you're an abuser, there is no laws to protect domestic violence, by the way. That's one thing to put into consideration. Another thing to put into consideration, and that's why I say there is the religion fundamentalism, is that's literally what gets told in these courts is, when if somebody comes in for domestic abuse, they'll be like, if a woman comes in for domestic abuse, they will literally tell her that, hey, it is part of the Sharia that he can just like emotionally abuse you if he wants to, because he is telling you exactly what to do and you're supposed to listen to him. No, bullshit. That is complete bullshit. And it's complete bullshit, because again, it's just again, I'm trying my best to keep my calm and not break down and cry, because that's exactly what happened yesterday. I actually broke down and cried yesterday because there was something that happened, and some bad news, and I just couldn't. I can't, because and I had the first video I did about this topic. I was so pissed off, and I'm still pissed off, that I was swearing the entire video, and I was just like, this is effed up, this is messed up, and it is messed up. And here's the reason why it's messed up. It's because, okay, so let me explain to you what the court system looks like in Egypt, okay, for especially family court systems, because they get ugly. I mean, I knew they were ugly, I just didn't know they were that ugly. But the court, so according to the laws of Egypt, in the event of divorce, the mother, are allowed to get the custody of the children. Okay, so that's, you're like sitting down going like, if you're a female, you're like, oh, that's good. I was like, oh, no, that's all you get. Like, literally, that's all you get. You cannot put them in school without the father's approval. You cannot let them travel without the father's approval, which I get it. By the way, I get the traveling part. I just don't get the rest of it. I get the traveling part because there is like the 1% chance that the mother decides to run away, which, by the way, she can't even run away, because if she wants to run away, if she already got married and she has children, and this is where the messed up really if you really want to talk about messed up, this is where it gets really messed up. You can't travel. Literally, even if you're divorced, your ex, if your ex is a monster, oh, you're in for like the worst experiences you're gonna get. Because one, you're not gonna be able to do a lot of things. I mean, very easily. And then two, if they're really rotten to the core, which, by the way, most of the cases is. I'm not gonna be sitting down here. I'm like, no, that's rare. No. That's most of the cases. Most of the cases, the dad is so literally, the father is so just petty and uncaring for their children, that they basically, what they do is that they're like, just like, whatever. They're like, oh no, we're just gonna make your life a living hell. And they do. Because one, they can, the abuser could actually put a lot of like they could literally go to any court system, any court, anywhere in the world, fraudulently put an address and have cases against you. That's one. Two, they can forbid you from taking your children to school, even if you're the one who's paying for the entire thing, even if you're the one who's paying all the expenses and you don't have any child support. They can just mess you up on that part, and schools have to obey that rule. They have to obey the law, or else they can't do that. So it's messed up. And then not only that, but again, the final straw that literally broke the camel's back was a personal case, and this is a friend's case, okay, without any naming names or anything, because they're still going on to this battle, and it is an ugly battle. Her ex basically fraudulently told the court system that she has caused him so much emotional damage and financial damage, which, by the way, that never happened. Both cases never happened, because I've been following this particular case. I've been following it since the beginning, because I was like, I wonder what happens if I go into the court system. Oh, no, hell no. Don't do that. If you're a female and you're divorced, just don't go into the court system. You're gonna be screwed over. Like I said, your only thing they're gonna get you is they're gonna give you maybe the educational custody, and that is a piece of paper that you can just basically just use it as toilet paper. I'm sorry. I know it's an important paper and everything, but it's basically useless, especially if it's the case of my friend's case, which is just, like I said, it is maddening. It is maddening what's happening. And like I said, emotional and financial damage, which, by the way, the monster that she married pretty much did not do anything, did not do any support system, did not do anything like that. And then the court system pretty much granted this person, this abuser, this monster, financial compensation for no reason, for no freaking reason. And I'm just sitting down, and just when she, I might start crying, but the moment she started talking about it, I was just like, that sucks. That completely sucks. Because it's just, I'm like, you're just. I mean, you were already an abuser, as you were already an abuser, and then like finally you're even more abusing her even more after she got that. And for what reason? For the reason that she said that she no longer wanted this relationship, that she wanted to get out of toxic relationship, which is her full right to go out of that toxic relationship. It is her full right to get out of this toxic relationship, and it's sad. It's really sad that a court system had to force a mother to talk to her abuser and be like, hey, just cut it out. Fine, what the hell do you want from me? And I'll do it. And it's sad. It's very sad. The way my friend broke down and just was crying and just like sitting down going like, I have no idea what to do. And she and I, we have the same ethics when it comes to like the way we do things ethically is we refuse to play dirty. We refuse to play dirty. I mean, we have the capabilities of doing it, but we refuse to do that. We like to play fair and square, and yesterday was one of those cases where playing fair and square doesn't win you anything. Playing fair and square basically screws you over in a system that is not fair and square. And that's basically it. That's just that. And like I said, it's extremely sad to see this case. It's extremely sad. And then it's a reminder of why this is a messed up country. This is a messed up country for females. And I understand the pain. I understand that there are people who are trying to make things better. There are people who are working on making things better. I get it. I honestly get it. I get it. But it's sad. It's really sad. I don't recommend people coming to Egypt. I don't recommend people seeing this. Especially after yesterday, after seeing what happened to my friend, I was like, hell no. I was just this close, and I was like, oh no, there are some positives in here. No, there are none. A court system that allows for an abuser to basically continually harass his abusee, continually make their life a living hell, continually remind them of that abuse, remind them of why they left in the first place, remind them of all of this. It's not fair. Honestly, it's not fair. And I know life is not fair. I'm 37 years old. I get it. Life ain't fair. I get that part. I get also the part that not only is it ain't fair, life is crap. I get that. Like I said, 37 years old. I understand that part. But it's still seeing it happen to a mother, seeing it happen to a person who most of their lives have done nothing wrong. Most of their lives have been just trying their best to be the best that they could be for their family, for their things. Never complained once, never once said anything, never once said ouch. And to see them completely break down and just go, I give up. That friend is a fighter, and she fights tooth and nail. Like she is one of the feistiest friends I have, and she's one of the most awesome people I know of. And for her to finally break down and just be like, I can't do it anymore. I give up. That is heartbreaking. To make a person reach to that point, to make a person reach to the point where they just, it's not just them against an abuser, but it's them against the system. And that system is so messed up that on the surface it looks like everything is okay, but in reality it just sucks. And I don't think it will change. And the only reason I think it will not change is because of the gatekeeping. So, and oh yeah, this is now where we get into the religion fundamentalism. When she complained to another friend of ours who is very religious, this was the answer. Oh, well, if she didn't divorce him, then she wouldn't have gone into that problem. I just lost my temper at that point in time. When she was telling me that, I was like, is he fucking crazy? And I do apologize for my language, but that was just beyond stupid to say that. Do not blame the person for doing what they did. Okay, do not bring up religion. Do not bring up how like Allah said that. It's like, no, this person currently does not need to hear Allah said or Allah did. This person needs somebody to just sit down there, give them a big hug, and be like, hey, I know things are crappy, but it's good. And I know it looks very bad, and I know that it looks like you've lost, but just hang in there, and everything is going to be fine. And if it's not fine, at least you have us. We're here. We're here for you. We and your family are here for you. And that's what this person needs to hear. That person doesn't want to hear about anything about religion. That person doesn't want to hear that if she was a better Muslim, which this is what really pissed me off. If you were a more righteous Muslim, you would not have gone into this one. You would have picked a righteous man. It's like, F you. Literally F you. I was like, this is my reaction. I was like, F you. And they're like, and my friend was like, I know. And I'm like, yeah, F that person for saying that. What the hell does it have to say to do with religion? You know what? I'm like, you know what? How I see it, I'm like, as messed up as this is. And she goes like, what? I'm like, what? The way I see it and the way you see it, the way I see it, this is a blessing. And I'm like, she's like, I don't want to hear this. I'm like, no. I'm like, just listen to me now, because I know this is not what you want to hear. I completely understand that this is not what you want to hear now. What you want to hear now is this is an effed up system and an effed up thing, and I get that, and it is an effed up system, but it is a blessing. And I'm like, it's a blessing in disguise. And she goes like, what? I'm like, because now you have no reason to stay here. And she sat down and she was like, you're right. I'm like, yeah, you have no reason. I mean, you were hanging in with a thread saying that the system is going to be there for you. This is, in the end, this is our hometown, our home country, so it's good that we should stay here. But I'm like, this just proved to you that leave. And you've put down a lot of places that did not leave, that you turned down a lot of offers from outside of the country. Next offer you get, hop on a plane and go. And never look back. And she was like, you're right, I'll actually do that. I'm actually going to do that. I'm actually going to hop on a plane and never look back. And I'm like, and I'm sorry what happened with your kids. Completely sorry. I'm very sorry that this happened. I'm very sorry that the system forced you to do a lot of things that you don't want to do. And I apologize for that. But this is things for you. Hop on a plane, never look back, and don't you ever think about coming back. She goes like, I'm like, even if this turns into like a holy land, do not come back. And she goes like, yes, I do that. And I'm like, and for any other of your other friends, whoever is like trying to come back and saying that this place is going to be great, tell them it's a complete lie and don't come back. And she was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It is a blessing in disguise. I'm like, I'm like, this is a sign for you to leave. I'm like, it's as messed up as a sign as it is. This is a sign for you to leave, and this is actually what I'm gonna end in. If you are outside of Egypt, if you're an Egyptian outside of Egypt and you want to come back, don't come back. Just don't. Not now. Okay, not now, and not in the coming years, unless you're forced to come back. This is the only thing. Unless you're forced to come back, come back. Otherwise, don't do it. You're gonna regret it, and a lot of the people who came back from outside are regretting it. I'm one of the people who regretted coming back. I mean, I'm currently a little bit more happier than before, which is weird, but still, definitely do not recommend you coming back. You're just gonna end up hurting yourself a lot. And for any person who abuses the system, the Egyptian system, for their own gain, yeah, you might have won the dunya. You might have won the dunya, but I pity your soul. I really pity your soul in the end, because that broken heart and that broken person, they might not have the system on their side, but they have another person that is far more powerful and far more just on their side, especially now, and especially after they've been broken down and they literally sat down and they literally prayed, and that prayer is just between them and Allah, and there is nothing you can do. So if you think you won, yeah, you probably won. Like I said, you probably won the dunya, but you're in for an ugly realization later on, because Allah doesn't. Here's the thing about, for the religious people, when you try and say you're not a better Muslim or anything, you have no idea that if a Muslim gets really, if a Muslim has an ibtila that is so bad like this, this is Allah telling them that, hey, I'm here. And that prayer at that time, and that breaking, like while they're broken and sitting down and praying, that is between them and Allah. And I pity the soul. I literally pity the soul that is going to be that is going to be receiving that prayer, because that is a broken mother's prayer. The worst when it comes to like praying against a person, that is the worst, because she's not praying just for herself, and she's not praying just against the person who wronged her. Oh no, she's praying with the same force over her own children, and the more children she has, the worse it is. So yeah, for this is the last thing I'm going to leave it for abusers. If you think you can win in here, you're in for an ugly surprise when you get into the afterlife, because it is not going to be fun. And that's it. Bye bye.